the word, y'all? So today, I'm gonna have a little pep talk with y'all, man. I want to talk about why it's important to know how to fight. Get my water ready first. So, it's a bunch of different ways to look at this, right? There's a bunch of different aspects. There's a bunch of different things to look at. The first one is the obvious: why fight when everyone uses guns? So I'm gonna put it to y'all like this, right? First and foremost, life works in funny ways, right? So first and foremost, sometimes life will put you in a position where you have to react without actually having a plan of action. And what do I mean by that, right? So let's say you're in a situation, you're at a club, you're with your girl, they patted everybody down and wanted them before you got in there. Okay, cool. You get in there, a dude palms your girl's ass while you're in the club. Now, if you don't fight, and if you can't fight, right, and you're not built, your only option is to shoot that club up. Leave, come back, and shoot that bitch up, right? Sounds viable. You're like, yeah, that happens all the time. Now, while you in jail doing, let's say they nice and give you a 15 years. Let's say you get 15 years for shooting up this club, right? What you think your girl doing while you gone for 15 years? So you went through all that where if you knew how to fight, this is not me saying that you won't get in trouble for putting hands on somebody, but you're not going to do no 15 years unless you like kill him. You know what I mean? Unless you like really, really fuck him up. Where if you know martial arts, you generally have the skills to beat somebody's ass without killing them. Which is the truth. So, and you might be like, well, you know, that's just the consequences. Guess what? If you can't fight, once you do them 15 years, they're going to beat your ass in there too. So it's, ain't no guns in there. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by life puts you in situations. Now, that's not me saying that you shouldn't have guns. I have guns, right? I'm a built dude. I weigh 200 and something pounds. I have guns also. I do martial arts. I still have them. Because you never know when you might need that shit. Because let's say you out and you're attacked by a bunch of people. And martial arts, I know people say, oh, you know, martial arts, like jiu-jitsu doesn't work if you fighting like 4 or 5 people. Nothing you do, unless you Batman, I don't know what the fuck you learning that you're gonna beat up 5 people at the same fucking time. Mike Tyson in his prime would have a hard time fighting 5 motherfuckers at the same time. It's just, you're a human being, bro. You're not Batman, you're not Superman. You're not gonna go against 5 fully grown men and just think, well, you know, as long as I know how to box, I could take all of them at the same time. That's not how that works. You see what I'm saying? So in that situation, you may need a gun or you may need a knife. And another thing, let's say there's no guns, but you don't know how to fight, but you have a blade, right? And they have blades. Let me tell you something. A long time ago, one of my OG told me, who went to jail, if you can't box, you can't cut nobody. If you was to give a boxer a knife, he'd be one of the most lethal knife fighters out there because it's the same principles. Looking at tails, seeing things, catching movements, securing hands, things like that. You learn that through boxing. So the end thing is you want to be able and be prepared to handle yourself in any way you need to, right? And here's another thing, right? And this is another aspect that people don't look at about as far as knowing how to fight, right? That's getting off of the whole, you know, the whole guns thing, because that's why. Actually, touch on it one more way too. And this is mainly for black people, because those are the main people I see say shit like that, right? I guess I'm mainly around black people. They're not going to play with you when you go to... They are going to light your ass up with some crazy ass time for thinking that every situation you get into, you're just going to solve with some guns. Because not every situation warrants gunplay. And depending on what state you in, let me tell you something. If you live in like New York, you think every situation you get into, you're going to solve with a gun because you got a new permit? All right, bro. Hey, do you? But you know them laws, bro. That's if you got a permit. You see what I'm saying? Even if you go down south, you go to Texas. Some of these states, they are loose on you can carry, you can do things. Like, I live in Virginia. I have a friend who has a bunch of guns. This is an open carry state. I shit you not. Someone broke into his house. He shot this person, and that person went to trial against him. He tried to get him put in jail for shooting him in his house. And he didn't shoot him in his back. He shot him in his chest. The dude survived. And he almost got in trouble for it. I forgot the actual specifics of why it didn't happen. But yeah. Well, actually, no, that's what it was. The dude had a weapon on him, but it wasn't drawn. But because he had that weapon, that's why he didn't get in trouble. But just listen to that. Now, this is in somebody's house. So let's fast forward. You outside, out and about, doing something. There's people around. You get into a conversation. You get into an argument. Somebody beat your ass and you shoot them. You think everything gonna be gravy? And again, this is Virginia. There's states with more strict laws than that in other places. So just having that ability is important, bro. And again, you don't know where you're gonna be at. You know, if you go to Europe and you get beat, ain't no guns in Europe. And some motherfuckers try to beat your ass, hey, that could be the difference between you defending yourself or you being in the hospital. If you travel, things like that. So there's all types of situations that you may need something. So you never want to be in a situation where you need that skill or ability and you can't use that skill or ability. Right? All right, and then getting into the other things is, one, knowing how to fight gives you confidence. Let me tell you something. The main reason I don't get into any fights when I go out, for two reasons mainly, in my opinion. One, I'm courteous to everybody. Like I say, excuse me, how you doing, da. If I bump somebody, oh my bad, bro, hey, let me get that for you. I'm polite because I understand there's consequences behind actions, right? Some of y'all didn't grow up with certain consequences, so y'all not polite. But not being polite really stems from not being confident in yourself. If you're just walking out and you want to prove something to everybody, you're going to go out, you're going to talk crazy to people, you going to eye motherfuckers down, shit like that. And if you built like that, you built like that. But a lot of motherfuckers, I know people who are not built like that. I've gone out with and they eyeing motherfuckers down, they mean mugging and shit like that. A lot of times they haven't seen the consequence behind doing some shit like that. Because let me tell you something. I'm going to give y'all a story. When I was in high school, I had a buddy, right? This is back when it first got popping and started throwing the K behind somebody's group name. Oh, I'm such and such K. I'm yada yada K. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, you just being disrespectful and shit like that. Let me tell you something. I had a homeboy that started doing that. He thought shit was sweet. He got shot in his fucking face. When you see people have consequences behind their actions, it makes you think twice about acting a certain way. I done seen people get cut for bumping somebody and saying what? I've seen real life, boom, boom, consequence. You did some dumb shit, there's a consequence behind that. And sometimes, and this is why people say you still gotta beat your kids. Because listen, if your kid thinks that he can act and talk to whoever any type of way he wants to, and some shit happens, because you can't tell nobody how to react. So that's number one. So that confidence, you're going to be more polite. Two, you're not going to be looking for fights anyway. And you're going to carry yourself in a way that is, prevents you from getting into fights. Another reason why I don't get into many things because I do lift. It's another reason why I say lifting is important. Outside of the lifting aspects, outside of just being strong, being pliable, being healthy and things like that, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're in a situation where, like I said, you're in a place where you don't have a weapon, or again, you're not an idiot and you're not trying to crash out and just shoot up everything at the last second. If someone's a big dude, like, hey, I don't know if I could take bro like that. Now, there's certain situations, like I would get into it with people, like when I worked at like shipyards and stuff like that, they're protected by the gate. They know if things go wrong, I could call the cops or something like that, which I've had a bunch of people say that to me. Like they'll say some shit, they'll make a threat and then be like, if you touch me, I'm calling the cops. Like, I'm like, you just, whatever. Anyway. That's a real thing. So please do not think that because there's guns and shit, because what I don't want, see, the narrative that's being pushed right now, and the reason why it's so dangerous, you got a bunch of young teenagers who's impressionable, and they're seeing people say people don't fight no more. People don't fight no more. What's the point of fighting? I went and bought this 30. I don't need to fight. I got cool, bro. Hey, look, you with that? You a bad. Hey, you bad. You dangerous. You gonna spray the block. Whoever play with you, laying them down. I got you. There ain't no guns in jail, G. And they ain't gonna play with you. Like this. I know a lot of people who've been in situations. No, not a lot of people. I know a few people who've been in situations where they had to use a firearm in public, and they went through hell. And all of them were justified. If they just told you what the story was or why they used it, you'd be like, that makes sense. They went through hell trying to get out that shit. And let you not have, I forgot what it's called. It's like an insurance for like people that have guns. Let you not have that. I'm telling you, bro, like, don't let these people, because I keep seeing things on like Facebook and Twitter and shit, and they like, and it's people getting into arguments and shit and get to blowing. There was this girl, I don't know where this took place at, but I guess the girl came up to her door and got to arguing and fussing with her. And I guess she hit the car with something. Shorty got out dumping. Hit the girl about 4 or 5 times. I don't know if she died or not, but I do know when they posted actually no, she didn't die, because they did post the article in there. That girl is getting sentenced, bro. She's getting some major time, because that's not something that, like, every state's different. And people, I think a lot of people look at the shit with Trayvon Martin, God rest the dead, R.I.P. to him, and they think that's, you know, it's not too many situations that go like that. You know what I mean? And there's not a whole lot of states that have those type of laws. So, like I said, bro, just it's better to be prepared than not to be. I tell you right now, I am comfortable with any situation I get into because I know I defend myself with my hands. I can defend myself with a firearm. I can defend myself with a knife. If you can do those things, bro, you A-okay. And if you're a man, it is important. Because if you have a family, you don't want to be in a situation where you're out with your family and you can't protect them in any shape or capacity. You know what I mean? So I would say every man should be doing some type of martial art. It's not going to hurt you to know it. You see what I'm saying? And again, you never know when you need it. You'll never know. I'm saying right now, there's a bunch of people. There's been times where I've gotten into arguments with people. And I remember I was driving around with one of my homegirls, and we going to get some food. And dude at the McDonald's thing, he snapping, he jump out the whip. So I'm like, oh, it's live. You know what I mean? So I take my seatbelt on. As soon as I took it off and I kind of sat up, he starts going back to his car. As he walked back to the car, he's like, yeah, because I got my shit on me too, bro. I'm like, nigga, so do I. And I reached down, I'm like, this is not my car. I'm like, fuck, this is not my car. I'm like, we're driving her car. I always keep my gun in my car, but I'm like, fuck, I don't have my car. So I'm like, well, in my mind, now I'm going through, all right, look, if he comes back around, I gotta be quick. I gotta keep this door kind of cracked open. If he comes back, if I see any inclination that he has anything, I need to go, get up, secure that arm, break that arm, and go from there. And that's why things like jiu-jitsu, let me tell you something. Someone tags you down and secures that shooting hand, you break that arm, they not shooting shit. After that, just put them to sleep, and then, you know, you go from there. But if you don't have those skills and abilities and mindsets, you just a sitting fucking duck. So, you know, that's my take on that. Y'all be easy, man. Like, comment, subscribe, Reaper Training. I get up with y'all.